Bodhicitta or loves all beings.
Something like bliss.
Yeah, he went to bliss. Yeah, and the one who turned correct, who turned into a pramana. Yeah, we're going to talk about that today. Thank you for remembering that. Can somebody please fix that tanka above you, please? It's on an angle, and his name is. Anyone know his name? Yeah, it's on that. It's on an angle that way. And so if we make him, yeah, if you pull your side, sorry, he needs to be correct. Thank you. That's it. Yeah. Hallelujah. And the blue one, the other way, the opposite way.
What about Walter?
No. No, not yet. Truly. It's secret.
Yeah.
Sort of. They're sitting here for a reason. But it's another reason. Perfecto. Muchas gracias. Very mucho. Yeah, Shinto mucho. Who said that? Did you say that? So give me the definition of a valid perception. A valid perception.
A clear and unmistakable state of thought.
Sir?
Fresh and unmistakable state of
A
mind.
fresh and unmistaken state of mind. Valid perception. Fresh, new, unmistaken state of mind. This is all your quiz, by the way. Right? And when we say a person who became a valid perception, tsema kebu, yeah? What do we mean? How can a person become a mind thing? How can a physical thing become a mind thing? Is that what we mean?
Someone who's reached
Tsema kebu.
Someone who's reached enlightenment and only sees valid perceptions.
Someone who only experiences valid perceptions. So why do we say they... Oh, we'll talk about that today, turn correct.
Because they see themselves as a valid perception.
Look, it's a term, I'll talk about it today, but it's a term used even for high saints or Aryas, arhats, yeah? Anybody who has seen emptiness directly, they are considered a tsamakyebu because they can only speak what they see, and they can only see or have seen valid perceptions. Now a Buddha, technically, is the only one, an enlightened being, a being who has removed all their mental afflictions and have omniscience, we'll talk about it today, is like a valid perception. Insofar as that they are not the 5 things I taught you last week, which are the not valid perceptions, which were, do you remember what they were? Recollection, as backwards. You remember the as backwards? Okay, great.
Being split between 2 things.
Yeah, being split, all the uncertain, all the fuzzy perceptions, those 5 things, a Buddha can't have that, including recollection. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, recollection is not a perception. We'll talk about that. Yeah, it's a good. But this class is going to give you cognitive dissonance. Yeah, it should let you go, what the hell? Hopefully, you'd love it. So, what's the point of studying pramana? If we're going to investigate things that are hidden and very hidden, try and get pramana so we can investigate that stuff that's not tangible to us. What would be like worth investigating? The price of leather in 2015? The average lifespan of an African snail? Yeah. Seriously, what's worth studying? What's worth identifying, getting a pramana about, considering that world that you just saw in your meditation?
Reality.
That's good. What kind of reality? Ultimate reality. That would be nice. Understanding ultimate reality. What's outside the black box, right? So, what do we say? What was said in the reading or in the text that will be the focus for pramanas, learning, logic, and perception.
Receiving nirvana.
Nirvana, omniscience, and
to nirvana.
the path to nirvana. And the path to nirvana should bump you into reality. Right? Yeah? Cool? Everybody? No? Good? I'm talking to myself.
You should.
So what kind of valid perceptions would you need to have in order to establish nirvana, omniscience, and a path? Out of the ones we just talked about. Direct or deductive? Who said both? Why did you say both? Don't say because I read the homework. Think about that. Like, I need you to think about these things. Why would you need both? Direct perception to figure out nirvana, omniscience, and the path, and deductive reasoning. Why?
Maybe it's both simultaneously.
We need the deductive to get to the definite, right?
One brings validation to the other.
Okay. I can't hear you very well because I'm old and deaf. What was yours?
One brings validation to the other.
That's good. So one gives you more, like, what are you more certain about? Are you more certain about your direct perceptions, or are you more certain about your deductive reasoning? Be careful. Which one are you more certain about? Have you acted on your direct perception and been burnt?
Yes.
Have you acted on your deductive reason and not been burnt?
Yeah.
I'm just pissing with you. Yeah. But think about it, right? Like, which one is more trustworthy?
Neither. Both together.
I want you to think about it. What are you certain about? I don't want to pull the rug of the universe under you, but really, what are you certain about?
Depends on what they do.
Death. That's a good thing. And taxes. It's worth thinking about. It's worth thinking about. Now I have an hour. Great. Let's begin. That concludes the review portion of this class from my iPad. Sema Kebu. Sema Kebu. Is that up there? Yeah.
Yes.
Sema Kebu. So what's Sema? Valid perception. What's Kebu? We had it last class. It's a person. Yep. So a person, valid perception person. A person who is totally correct. So like we did in the exam last week, or in the test last week, a person who is like a valid perception. Like I said before, it is referring to not you that have valid perceptions most of the time. Like, this is a flower and this is Hector, and you can hear sounds and there are colors, and you're in a room, and they're all valid perceptions. They're okay. You're having them all the time. Yeah? Why would a Buddha be called a valid perception? Oh, a person of valid perception. So, but this is what we have to establish, right? Because you have to what? Believe me, did I say that? That they wrote it, and so we have to believe it. We have to establish that. Right? That if there could be a state of being where you could become that kind of being, that you only have valid perceptions. And that all you were able to say is that which you perceived, which was a valid perception, that would make you speak only truth. Ultimate truth, always truth. And that is worth investigating. Because if we can become that, if we can get to that, first we should establish that that thing is possible with the best we have in our toolkit of perception, and then that there's a way to get to that, right? So, Tema Kiebu. So if we say that, then we can take their authority as well for stuff that's Shinto Kokyu. If we can establish that there is a possibility, if we can establish that a being can become totally correct, and then they say, life is suffering, and you go, intercourse affirmative. Yeah? I mean, affirmative, it's correct. Okay? And then they say something that you can't quite see. And if you've established that everything else they've said is correct, then you should probably think it's logical. You can use your deductive reasoning to say, well, this other stuff that I can't figure out is true, could be true. Doesn't mean you have to believe it, accept it until you have some kind of perception yourself. But it's possible. So,
in Western logic, that's a fallacy. If you appeal to authority, that's like one of the fallacies in Western logic.
it's a conflict
It's
for
different,
us.
yeah.
It's a very, it's a big conflict for us in the West. Yeah. Chew it. That's all I can say. I'm not, and I'm by no means am I asking you to say you have to believe this. I'm saying we're investigating a different way of looking at the world. What's correct? What is it? How do you act? What do you believe? And why? So, if there was such a thing as Sitsema Kebu, if there was a possibility of becoming a being who was totally correct and they only spoke truths, imagine if we all, you and me included, only ever spoke what we knew was totally correct. What you really knew was totally correct. Be very silent. It would, right? Like it'd be a very quiet world. Okay, who's that? Does anybody know who that being is over there? Avalokiteshvara. What's that in Tibetan? Chenrezi? Yeah. So the word zik in Chenrezik means eyes or to see. Yeah. Chenrezik, loving eyes. So the next thing is zik yul, zik yul, right? So zik means look and yul means object. These are the objects that the Buddha sees. Bear with me as I dump in you a bit of information to make the second half of the class meaningful. Ready? So, a being, a Tsema Kebu, I'm sharing with you qualities of a Buddha now, right? Tsema Kebu, an enlightened being, sees objects. The objects they see directly. Yeah? So yul is object, zik is look. They do not have deductive reasoning. They don't use deductive reasoning to experience the totality of reality. They see two kinds of objects. Please say ji nyepa, chu. So ji means as, nyepa means many as there are, like lots and lots. And chu is existing things. So as many as there are existing things, or the totality of all objects, right? So Sikyul means, what does the Buddha see? He sees two things. First of all, get this, the totality of all objects. What else would there be left? Anyway, what would they have to a second dot point? But here we go. Are you with me so far? I just think that's funny. It's like he sees the totality of all objects and what's that? So the totality of all objects is he sees conventional reality, past, present, and future. Or she. Yeah. Past, present, and future. That's Jinyepachu. And please say Ji, Tawe Chu. So what's Ji? Good. What's Chu? Existing things. Yeah. What's Tawa? They are. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, he sees conventional reality, past, present, and future, all existing things. And he sees ultimate reality, the way they are. So he sees as they are and the way they are. So he sees the conventional nature and the ultimate nature. I'm not listening to her. Someone please remove the demons from the room. Yeah. Sorry, Monty Python reference. Let me just enjoy that for a second. And those possessed by devils, please, no. So he sees all the things that are and how they are.
So
And yeah,
is this suggesting that the time is
up your brain. Yeah, go.
the time is in our perception, that in ultimate reality is that what they're suggesting?
Here is one way of looking at what this division means. Okay, for those of you who have been informed enough to understand the steps to seeing emptiness directly, to having a direct perception of outside the box. Yeah? They're egging me on. They're like, come on, tell them. Sure, if I should, you know. They really want me to. Yeah. For us, for beings in this realm, the one you just meditated upon, we can't have one and the other at the same time. Even when we sit in meditation and we're having and we're diving into that thing which is ultimate reality, or getting to ultimate reality, to understanding of emptiness. When we're getting there, the books say that when you see ultimate reality directly, you cannot be aware of yourself seeing ultimate reality directly. So there is no sense of, I am doing this, I am seeing everything. There's nothing in the box looking outside the box. They call it water poured into water because there's no division. There is only ultimate reality. You are in that experience. There is no you. It is the experience. Water poured into water. There's a dissolution of this identity of the nominal you. So from our point of view, when you are in deep meditation and you have a direct perception of ultimate reality, the books say, your nominal nature does not exist for you. Except it comes back when you return, when you come down from that experience, you begin to get nominal reality bombard you, bombard your senses, bombard your mind, and then you have a recollection, a deep realized experience of what you just saw, that you can't be in that state of mind while you're here. It's only a recollection. So from our point of view, we have to be in one or the other. Our Buddha, a completely enlightened being, perceives both at the same time.
And that is because of karma?
It is all karma. It is all karma. Yeah, it's good question, because then it implies what is the Buddha's mind and whatever. We'll get to it after the second karma. This, I think it's also to do with evolution. You know, like you can't go from here, like an internal evolution of being. You can't go from here, I'm born and I'm a 35-year-old person. Like there's a growth that happens in everything in the realm we exist in. There's something to do with the steps to enlightenment are graduated path. It's not a McDonald's path where you get instant gratification. Yeah?
Happy meal.
Happy meal with extra fries. Yeah? Shinto fries. Extra prominence, please. That's good. I'm trying very hard to keep, because there's a lot to cover. I want you to just soak it in, because one thing I've been thinking about lately is we take this spiritual knowledge, we get these insights that really people have sat for years internalizing, investigated the nature of things, you know, and then we McDonaldize them. We're like, okay, I got that, here I go. No, it's got to sink into you. and then something grows in you. That knowledge turns into awareness, that awareness turns into a feedback loop of pramana after pramana that turns into a realization. Until you can have that kind of, where there's no division. Yeah. 60 times. So, this is where I screwed up my writing, so bear with me a second. We've got that so far, right? So Tsema Kebu sees the world in a certain thing, looks at it, right? And they see two things. One is everything, and the other one is how everything is seen, which I thought was tricky. Yeah. Anyway.
So what enables you to see conventional reality? Is it their compassion for normal people?
It's a lovely, lovely question. You know, and this is like a big dilemma still in my mind, and I think a big debate for many people. Does the Buddha perceive suffering? Does he perceive it as suffering? He must perceive suffering. He perceives everything of the past, present and future. Surely he perceives his own suffering before he became a Buddha. No?
Do that again?
Surely he must perceive his own suffering before he became a Buddha. No?
But isn't the idea that suffering is because you don't understand why you're suffering? So if he understands everything, he
Then-
wouldn't see it as
But
suffering?
he has past, present and future. He sees himself as a baby.
Yeah, but he understands everything.
Which means, is it suffering for him? Why?
Because he understands it, so you can't
Cool.
suffer to understand it.
So if he sees our suffering, that's a lovely answer, by the way.
Understands
Don't you think that's a lovely answer? Yeah.
Well, that is Buddha should be unchangeable.
I'll say that again.
Buddha should be unchangeable instead of being, right?
No, is that's another beautiful question. You're jumping ahead. That's fine. Just jump ahead. Fine. It's not my plan. But is the Buddha, is enlightenment, is omniscience, past, present, and future, seeing everything, is omniscience, yeah, of the Buddha's mind, a changing thing or an unchanging thing? If we divide
If
this,
it's unchanging, we can never get to it.
Right, it is changing.
But everything is changing.
no, this is where you have to put in your
Inductive.
deductive reasoning. Yeah, good. It's you think it's unchanging, right? Why do you think it's unchanging? It's worth investigating. Why would you think it's unchanging?
Because I think that the change is part of the
Dharmakirti addresses it.
ultimate reality, the perception of it. Like,
So you're saying ultimate reality is unchanging. Is emptiness changing or unchanging?
Emptiness is always changing.
There's like two answers.
Emptiness is unchanging, right? We learned that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. There's that one more thing that we know is unchanging.
Space.
Space, the idea of space, not space as in Robinson Crusoe, yeah, or whatever his name is. I don't know what I'm talking about. No, what am I talking about? The
Star Trek, just say.
Dr. Robinson. Danger Will Robinson.
Oh, that's it.
Dr. Who?
No, anyway. Let's not go there because it's already complex. Erin, you'll be fine. The head will not explode. Honestly, we are just investigating. Yeah, imagine that you are eyes closed in a room, instantly put in a room, and all you are doing now is feeling out this room because someone says to you, if you touch over here, there is something. And you go there and go, oh, there is something. Yeah, and all you're doing is that. You're blind to it at the moment. It's Shinto Kokyu or Kokyu. Is emptiness changing or unchanging? Unchanging. We know that. Yeah?
But you could say the emptiness of a specific object is changing, right?
The emptiness of a specific object is not changing.
It goes in and out of existence.
It
as
can
the
go in and
object
out of
goes in and
existence,
out
but
of
the
existence.
emptiness of a thing is not changing.
Isn't it?
And you'd argue, you'd say, oh, hold on, but the fact that it was there 1 minute and the fact that it wasn't there 1 minute, doesn't that mean it changed? No, it stayed perfectly and completely exactly the same before and after it became during its existence.
Isn't it-
So the emptiness of the wall has emptiness in it, right? Does it? Yeah? When the wall stops being a wall, and it becomes rubble, where is the emptiness of the wall?
In the rubble.
No, that's the emptiness of the rubble.
It's still the emptiness of the
The
wall.
wall you
Huh?
can see.
There is no wall to have emptiness.
There was no
Emptiness,
wall first
ness.
place.
No. Now listen.
The wall,
Emptiness of nominal things.
It's in the
the wall
recollection.
required.
Is there
subject.
self-existent emptiness? Is that what you're saying?
There's the emptiness which is, I'm exploring.
No, explore.
Emptiness
Yeah, go.
that is part of the ultimate reality, which is inherent, the inherent emptiness of all things.
Is emptiness a thing?
No.
It's a non-quality.
It's
Implication.
a quality. That's why it's ness. Yeah? Emptiness. Kindness. It's a ness. So, is it a thing? It's a ness, right? Is it an object? So it's a lack of a thing. So let's go. The emptiness. Geshe Michael Roach uses the example of the emptiness of the pink elephant in this room. There is no pink elephant in this room. You could look at every corner, under every space. The room is empty of having pink elephants. Are we okay with that? Even really, really tiny ones. Right? There is no pink elephant in this room. And we can walk around and establish it. And the fact that there is no such thing, never was and never will be, in this room remains constant. It's unchanging. Yeah? Now, blow up the room. There is no room to poise that idea. That emptiness is disappeared. There is no reason to even consider. There is no emptiness. There's no lack of pink elephant in a room that doesn't exist. Does that make some sense? Yeah? We're digressing because I'm trying to get to... Well, I forgot what I was trying to get to.
Oh, the past, present.
Past, present, future. Yeah, that's right, because you jumped me ahead. Yeah.
And is
Yeah. No, it's good. I
is
want your
Buddhism
minds
unchanged?
engaged.
So, only valid perceptions have the quality of emptiness.
Do only valid perceptions have the quality of?
Emptiness. With a recollection.
Oh, no, I think I know where you're going with that. That's a nice question.
Yeah.
Mm.
Keeps me up.
Do you all understand her question?
Not really.
So my question to your question is there anything else about your perceptions?
So I can imagine a pink elephant through.
You can?
Sure.
Is it a pramana to imagine?
No.
Okay.
So, are you saying that the changing nature of your perception of
Say that again?
the changing nature of your perception of whatever your reality is encompassed in the emptiness?
You gave me half an answer to her previous question. So I'm going to ignore the emptiness part and I'm going to say whether or not the omniscience or the Buddha's mind is a changing or unchanging thing as it perceives present, past, present and future. Because there's some, to go back to your question, because you've just hit half of it, yeah? That there is a feeling from our viewpoint that if something can see all things, past, present and future, yeah, then that's frozen, right? Because I'll give you an example. The first moment that he sees everything, the first moment that he jumps into omniscience, shouldn't that be the same as the second moment? If he just saw everything, shouldn't he see everything, which includes the second moment?
Well, is he seeing everything all the time, though? Or is he choosing?
Well,
to see
the minute
things?
before, the last bhumi, when he stepped into, the last bhumi became Buddha, right? Before that, he didn't see everything. Upon becoming omniscient, when the karma popped for becoming omniscient, then he sees everything, past, present, and future, right? Is there anything else to see?
Is that relevant?
Is that relevant? It's worth investigating because it will give you some quality of what this Shinto Kokya stuff is. That's all. That's all it's doing. Yeah. I don't think, I haven't, I hope you might, but I don't think you're going to come to a firm decision in this conversation. But you will get a flavor for where your mind wants to keep investigating, like you're doing really well. Yeah? So follow my question. The first moment of omniscience, of an enlightened mind. The first moment, imagine that, right? So I'm not omniscient. Bing!
You just got an email.
I just got an email. Hold on. Before I become omniscient, let me answer that. The first moment of omniscience, you get to experience everything, past, present, and future. Its relative nature and its ultimate nature. We just discussed that, right? What about the second millisecond of omniscience?
Well, what I was saying, I wasn't just saying is that relevant to the question, I was saying is that relevant once you're in that state?
And I think it's got something to do with that, yeah? Like from this point of view, there's some things that are so Shinto-Kokyu, we have to rely on somebody who's in that state to share with us until we get closer to that. Like the dog trying to be convinced that a pen is for writing, and there's no amount of getting their consciousness up to say it's writable. That was one thing. I will still want to answer the question, is the Buddha's mind changing or unchanging?
It's
Changing.
Why? If he just saw everything, there's nothing else to see.
Well, I mean, what is
He's seeing it
is
from a
there
different point of
time then?
view.
Huh?
He's seeing it
Does he perceive time? Good
Yeah,
question. Is there time in the Buddha's mind?
That's the thing. If there's time,
He perceives time as a
No,
projection.
there is time. The fact that he's perceiving it all, it doesn't mean that it's not there. He's just perceiving it all at the same time. But I feel that time is
I
there.
love the question.
But time's a
It's empty.
projection.
It doesn't have an inherent quality of its own. So the Buddha perception of time is different from ours, as well as it is different from the hungry ghost. Like every round has.
So
a
does
different
the
perception of
Buddha
time.
perceive the hungry ghost's perception of time and your perception of time?
Yes.
So maybe something else.
So is that changing or is that unchanging?
It is changing because my perception of time changes constantly, and he sees my perception of time, so he sees my changing mind.
Yeah. So Dharmakirti says it's like, and some people hate this analogy. So like a mirror. Forget that the mirror has an edge. Imagine zooming into the mirror, yeah, and the image in the mirror is moving, right? As time would move. So you put something in front of it, and the image changes. If you're so zoomed in that you don't know it's a mirror, you think that thing is changing. The quality of what's reflected is changing. Yeah? So Dharmakirti says that. Says the Buddha's mind is changing because it's perceiving, it's reflecting all of reality, and all of reality is changing. So, and it's, it's like a poo, like a fly on a poo. It goes there and goes there, and the mind goes from moment to moment, perception to perception, as that goes there, as it goes there, as it goes there. That's it. That's what Dharmakirti says. You can argue it. You're welcome to. I have half an hour to find my book. Chew it. It's worth investigating. Yeah, and there's many more texts that describe what a Buddha perceives. So let me just get to the Buddha said. He said, Jinpei, is that up there? Jinpei? Is it there?
Yeah, it's under
It's
Chepa.
under Chepa's.
Yeah. Under Chepasum, which is Chepasum is there's 3 tests that you could do to check if what a being said is accurate. I'll cover it in just a sec. But he said Jinpei, say Jinpei,
Jinpei.
Longchu, Trimki De. So what's Jinpei? What's anyone who's done the 6 perfections? Does anybody remember?
Morale?
Jinpei. Sounds like Jinpa.
Giving.
Giving, right? The perfection of giving. Good. Giving. Longchu is possessions. Trinki is morality by. Oh, did I get that right? And De is happiness. I might have a word missing there. So he says, if you give to others, you will have possessions. If you keep your morality, you will be happy. Buddha's quote. So,
Can you repeat that?
yeah, if you give to others, you will have possessions. If you keep your morality, you will be happy. So presumably an enlightened being said this stuff. Can you have a valid perception that that's true? Or do you have to use his authority? Do you have to use deductive reasoning? Do you have to? Is it kokyo to you? Is that statement true? Is it shinto kokyo to you? How do you verify that what that said? If you give, you will have. If you are moral, you'll be happy. Is there any way to verify that as a truth? Can you have a pramana about it?
You can try it. You can test it.
You can try it and test it, and then begin to have small valid perceptions. That's good. And they're trying it. There's something about trying it that looks to break it, like road test it, right? To see if it's not true or something, right? So
it's accepting up front that it's a theory and that you can't actually believe in it 100% until you've tried it for yourself.
Yeah. Good. So there's 3 tests we can have to these kind of statements from a Buddha, a being, an enlightened being, that I'd like to share with you when we come back. Sort of. Actually, let me just sneak it in 5 minutes. Is that okay?
Sneak it in.
Sneak it in. So go Nyungsum. Gi mi nupa. Which means the statement can't be disproved by any direct perception you have or have ever had. So the first test to see if what they're saying is correct is you can't disprove it by a direct perception that you have or have ever had. Just chew on that for a second. Say after me, Jepak, Giminupa. And that means, say that again?
You can't reason, can't disprove it with reason?
Yeah, with airtight reason. Did you cheat?
No, but
Why?
J-Pop Zen.
Don't you love that she knows that? Yeah. Can you tell
You
the
taught
class?
us that,
I know, but can you tell the class how long you've been studying these words?
4 weeks.
4 weeks, right? 3 weeks. Can someone help her learn Sanskrit and Tibetan, please? The world needs you. Yeah? Seriously. Like, I've been doing this 17 years, I have to read my book. Seriously.
I'm your gift, I'll teach you.
Isn't that amazing?
What?
Yeah. Can you look after
Okay,
her?
thank you.
Thank you. Correct. It means that the statement can't be contradicted by airtight logic. Now, airtight logic for us means something different to them. Chew on that for a second. Yeah? What we think is airtight logic might not necessarily be airtight logic. All I want to say about that is that we go around the world so fast paced that we think if I do this, that happens, and then and sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. We think that's logic. Airtight logic is different. Airtight logic is if you don't act, if you are not certain you don't act, the world will be much slower. If it's not a truth you don't speak, the world will be much quieter. We don't operate like that. We operate on the 80-20 theory. You know? Serious. I'll give that a go and I'll give that a go. I know, I'm dating. I'm like, if I date 10, 2 will be okay. I'm getting a slightly better odds, by the way. So the last part, say nya chi min gyao. And that means nothing that being has ever said before contradicts what he said later. Huh? Yeah, like an enlightened being or someone that you're trying to disprove or prove. So these 3 tests are there to see if you can disprove or break a statement made by the Buddha, like, if you give, you will have possessions. if you're moral, you will be happy. He said that. And you can go ahead and go, great, I'm going to give all my money away and I'll have tons of things. Just because he said so. And I'll be moral. I'll be really, really moral because I want to be happy just because he said so. And that's very different to applying these three things to it. Because if you check the statement, have I had a perception that contradicts that at all? If you try and break it. Anyway, when you come back, I'll give you a little controversial. By the way, Jason Kappa said, because of course at the moment it looks like lots of contradictions. The Buddha taught 4 different schools. That's a contradiction from my point of view. Nothing he ever said before contradicts what he said later. Ba-bam. That's a problem. Jason Kappa said in the 100,000 pages of Buddhist writing, once you get advanced enough in your spiritual path, you will not find a single contradiction in the 100,000 pages. And I don't know about you, but I don't know about you. So I hope you have a flavor that once you habituate your mind enough to perceive a certain way, that you could get an understanding of a conflicting world. It's similar to what you described, why the Buddha would not be perceiving suffering in the way we perceive it. Is there suffering or there's no suffering? Can the Buddha be in a suffering world? Does he perceive it as suffering? There's something in that, where with enough practice, with enough habituation in you, in your mind, in your consciousness, in that thing, there is a possibility to be removed completely out of samsaric existence, suffering existence, without contradiction. There's something in that. Jason Kappa said, once you get spiritually advanced enough, you will not find a single contradiction in, of course, what seems completely contradictory. Now, I'll leave you with that and then piss you off when you come back. Let's come back in 10 minutes, please. Yeah? And please don't forget to go to the